We are Rogue Media Sports.
5-1. 5-1. Stay humble, eh? Well, Manchester United, one step forward, two steps backward. I feel like we say this every time. Every time we praise Manchester United, they go on and do something stupid. And Tottenham, finally, y'all get a win, Tottenham. Y'all get a good win. And only Nottingham Forest can concede 5 one week and score 7 the next week. A Matchweek filled with so many storylines. This is Mind of Football Fans. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mind of Football Fans podcast, your go-to home for all things Premier League football. As always, I'm David. I'm so glad to be with you all today. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful morning. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. This is Mind of Football Fans podcast, your go-to home for all things Premier League football. We dissect everything Premier League football, all the storylines, all the juicy tea from the exciting match week that just concluded or is about to conclude in some cases. Yes, to our returning subscribers, we want to start by saying thank you so much. Thank you for all following us and subscribing and loving the episodes. We appreciate you all so much. Your support means the world to us. Thank you. And to our new subscribers, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down below. Yes. And hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we drop new content for you all. So in advance, thank you so much. Thank you. And to both our new and regular subscribers, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And don't forget, YouTube is not the only place you can find us. You can listen to Mind of Football Fans podcast on all podcast platforms. If you like listening to in your car, if you like, in the gym, we're there for you all. So thank you so much. Listen to Mind of Football Fans. Check out our socials, Instagram and TikTok, Mind of Football Fans podcast. So thank you so much. Yes, let's jump right into it. Matchweek 24. So many storylines. The Premier League, this is why we love the Premier League. Every week there are storylines. And it's not just one, it's not just two, it's not just three, it's not just four. 20 different storylines because of the 20 amazing Premier League teams. Wow. That's why we love Premier League. That's why they're the best league in the world. That is why the Premier League cannot be rivaled as the best league in the world. So let's jump right into it. Starting with the big game of the week. Arsenal 5, Manchester City 1. Stay humble, eh? Yes, obviously that was a big storyline from Manchester City and Arsenal. Stay humble, eh? Because if you remember, let's go a few weeks back to September where these two met at the Etihad. Obviously, City ended up scoring a late equalizer. The game ended 2-2. Arsenal dropped 10 men. Arsenal dropped points. And as City, I think, equalized, Haaland took the ball and hit Gabriel in the head. Okay, shenanigans. We won't call it what more than it is. Then after the game, he came and there was a scuffle between him and Jesus and Arteta, and he was like, stay humble, eh? Well, the Arsenal players did not forget that, to say the least. They definitely did not forget that. And Arsenal ran riot. Obviously, they had a game plan and it worked to DT. First 2 minutes of the game plan was set. We are going to high press these guys. And they did that. Odegaard, Havertz, Rice, Trossard, Martinelli, the front five pressed Masters back four, and they could not come out. Hence, first goal. Trossard pressing Akanji, winning the ball off, and then gets Kai Havertz sliding into, to Odegaard for 1-0. It should have been 2-0 like 20 minutes later because the same thing happened again. This time Declan Rice winning it and giving it to Odegaard. Odegaard passing it to Kai Havertz, and obviously Kai Havertz missed the chance. So we are not going to go into that. But then the game kept going. And obviously, when you score 2 minutes into the game, as it's natural, it's football, it's natural, we get it. But it seems like for Arsenal, it's a recurring thing. They score one and then they sit back, they calm down, they're like, we will take the pressure, we will do that. Like, it's a recurring thing for them. And, sometimes it's okay, when you're 1-0 up with like, 5-10 minutes to play. It's okay. We can take that, it's okay. But then you still have close to 95 minutes left to play. Plus, obviously, including added time. You don't do that. But Arsenal seem to keep doing this and kind of did it this time. And City just kind of found their way into the game. Obviously, they had 2 good chances. Raya with 2 good, amazing saves. But Arsenal kind of did not change, and the flow of the game just kept going that way. City having all the possession, passing it back and forth. Arsenal kind of playing on a counter, which to a degree wasn't bad, to a degree. But you're at home, you know what I mean? And the game of flow just kept going. The flow of the game just kept going, and halftime came. Halftime ended. Second half started, and it kind of just felt that way. And then just after halftime, obviously, we'll say about 10 minutes after halftime, Haaland equalizes. What a ball by, was it Nunes or Savinho? I think it was Savinho or Nunes. I can't remember who equalized. But what a ball by them. And Haaland obviously, previous to that, Haaland had not touched the ball. Haaland only had like 9 touches or something like that. In 33 minutes of play, Haaland had not touched the ball. And obviously, we all know that, and the commentators even said it, Lee Dixon and the rest, they said it. They were like, he can have 0 touches and the 1 touch he has is a goal. And that's kind of what happened. The 1 touch he had that, that was significant was a goal. And yeah, and it was 1-1. And then, bam, something clicked. I don't know what clicked, but Arsenal just went a whole nother level. They just took the game. They were like, forget this, 1 minute and I think 15 seconds, or 1 minute and like some seconds later, bam, 2-1. Phil Foden playing a square pass, Partey catching on to it, and with just a tad of luck, when you are going for the title, luck has to be on your side. We all know this in any sport. When you're going for the title, when you're competing for a title, an element of luck has to be on your side. And luck found Partey this today, or in that game, and he just placed the ball and it deflected off John Stones. Nothing he could do. John Stones closing in. Nothing he could do, and caught Ortega off guard. Bam! Arsenal again went on another level. Started doing their regular passing possession. City could not touch the ball. City could not get out of their half. Together with the high press and Arsenal's regular possession. Bam, 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 bam. 3-1, Miles Lewis Kelly. And then he did the Haaland celebration. He was like, he did this. The Arsenal players did not forget. They did not forget, be humble. 3-1. Pretty much the game was done, to be honest. I felt the game was done at 3-1. And then bam, counter. Arsenal are going. Martinelli finds Havertz. Havertz cuts in on his left. What a finish. What a finish by Kai Havertz. Obviously atoning for the earlier chance he missed to have gone 2-0 up. But it's okay. That's okay. As we all know, 60 million down the drain, Kai Havertz scores again. Kai Havertz actually leads Arsenal in Premier League goals, I think, with 9. So credit to Kai Havertz. And then Nwaneri comes on and Declan Rice plays an absolute pitch of a ball to him. One-time pass, goes to Nwaneri, cuts in, bam, scores. Midweek, he does the same thing. He literally did the same thing. Got the ball on his left foot, cut in, and placed it. Same exact signature skill. Obviously, we're not going to compare it to Saka. They're 2 different players, but they just have an excitement playing. Like you can see the excitement on their face when they play. So big ups to Arsenal. Comfortable 5-1 win. Stay humble. Humbled Manchester City. And after the game, John Stones couldn't speak. John Stones was speechless. He was like, you could see that they are not used to this. They are not used to being in this territory of losing 3, 4, 5, like or losing more than 5 games in a season. They are not in that territory. And it was crazy. It was crazy to watch. As an Arsenal fan, I enjoyed it. And obviously, there were a lot of pettiness. I think this is becoming one of the rivalries for years to come. This is becoming a rivalry for years to come. Now, what does it mean for Arsenal? Well, 6 points behind Liverpool, with obviously Liverpool having a game in hand, is momentum builder. You always say when you're in team chasing, you always want to be just behind. You don't want to be, obviously, if the other team wins, keeps winning, and then you can't catch up, that's a different story. But you want to put yourself in a position that when they do sleep, just when. It's not even if, it's when, because it's a long season. It's a when. And I might be wrong. I might be wrong for saying that. But when they do sleep, you want to be in a position to pounce. And that's what Arsenal are trying to do, be in the position to just pounce when Liverpool sleep. So kudos to Arsenal. Big result for them. In time past, obviously Liverpool played earlier and won. This could have been a different result for Arsenal, considering the pressure was on them to win. To Manchester City, and also going back to Arsenal, this is a momentum builder going into the EFL Cup semi-final, second leg, where they trailed 2-0 to Newcastle. They are going to St. James Park. They did a big result. So I think this is a big momentum boost for them. And then for Manchester City, well, at this point of the season, you're just trying to play for Champions League spot. We all know what happened midweek where they almost lost it to Club Brugge. It took efforts for them to even make that knockout stage. And we'll come to that in a minute. But it took efforts for them to make that knockout stage of the Champions League. But they are in it, so big ups to them. At this point now, they have because I don't think they'll beat Real Madrid. They are playing Real Madrid in the knockout phase. Home and away, I don't think they'll beat Real Madrid. And so at this point, they are just playing to make it to next season's Champions League. Man City do need a hard reset, really strong reset. They need to reset everything. But that was a big, big win for Arsenal. Big, big statement win. And stay humble, in reference to Haaland. I don't know why I keep saying it. I'm not trying to be petty, but stay humble. Moving on. Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 2. It's just a coasting. And then Liverpool have had, I think, 6 wins of 2-0. This is a comfortable scoreline. For most teams, they go 2-0 up, and it's kind of sketchy, as we saw with Aston a few weeks back against Aston Villa. But for Liverpool, 2-0 is a comfortable win. They are okay, comfortable. They score 1, they control the game, and then they add 1, and it's a comfortable day in the office for them. I will say this, that is scary. That is scary. They are comfortable winning 2-0. That is scary. And I don't know when they will fall. I don't know if they will fall. But I do know one thing. If that happens, when that happens, Arsenal will be there to pounce. I promise you that. My bold takes, Arsenal will hoist the trophy in 2025. I stand by it. May 2025. Come May 2025, Arsenal will hoist the trophy. I don't know when that will happen. But when that does happen, Arsenal will be there to pounce. But credit to Liverpool, credit to Mo Salah, just breaking records left, right, and center. I think he recently passed the Henry in the all-time Premier League scorers list, and he's just climbing. No one knows his future. No one knows where he will be at the end of the season. But he's just in the moment. That's the good thing. This team is just in the moment. They're just enjoying their football. Shout out to a few players. Virgil van Dijk, what a leader. He's Liverpool. If he goes down for any reason whatsoever, this team will be different. I know in a good way. Shout out to Ryan Gravenberch. What a player he's been. Transformational player under Arne Slot. Shout out to Godi Gakpo. We all know what he's getting. Like when we watch Cody Gakpo now, we know what we're getting from him. And that's a compliment, a big compliment for a player when your coach knows every week, week in, week out, this is what I'm getting from you. Shout out to Cody Gakpo. On paper, this game looks like it was going to be tough. And obviously, don't get me wrong, Bournemouth gave it a good go. I think they were unlucky for the first goal, the penalty. I think it's a foul, yes, but it was very. I think if it wasn't inside the box, I don't think it's that been given. I'm not even trying to triple you up. I think it's because it was inside the box because that was so accidental. That was the slightest of touches. Yes, it's a foul, but that was so accidental. Like if you literally had to strain your eyes to see where the feet touched. But credit to them. Ended Bournemouth's 12-game unbeaten run or 11-game unbeaten run in Premier League. Obviously, after just beating Forest 5. But yeah, kudos to Liverpool. If and when they do fall, Arsenal will be there to bounce. I promise you that. Moving on, Forest 7, Brighton 0. Last week I said this is an anomaly for Forest, losing 5. And well, lo and behold, they come in and they put 7 past Brighton. And Brighton are no scrubs. Let's get out of it. Brighton are no scrubs. They can actually play football. But Forest just, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because it was an early kickoff. I don't know. They just needed to get that 5-0 out of their system. And they did that in comfortable fashion, putting 7 past Brighton. Shout out to big man Chris Wood with a hat-trick, 17 goals. I believe he's on pace to finish with about 25, 27 goals this season. That is mental for a team, for a guy like Chris Wood in a team like Forest. I would love to see the Champions League anthem played at the City ground. It would be so good to hear watching Nottingham Forest. Obviously, we all know that they are heritage in the Champions League, one of the many original winners of the Champions League when it was still the European Cup. So, credit to Forest. Again, I think, as we said for Forest last week, this is an anomaly for Brighton. We're not going to read too deep into it. We're not going to say, oh, this. No, I don't think we're going to read too deep. Yes, they lost to Everton last week. But again, this is a one-off. I think next week, whoever Brighton play, they would get out of their system too. And I'm sorry for the next team that Brighton does play because they will get out of their system. So yeah, Forest 0, Forest 7, Brighton 0. Shout out again to big man Chris Wood with a hat-trick. Anthony Elanga, to shout out to him, hat-trick of assist. What a player. That those guys are becoming a fantastic duo. And let's even make it a trio because Morgan Gibbs White, or maybe even a quadruple with what's his name? Carla Husser. We don't, I know we don't talk about him that well, but those guys are balling. That front four, they're amazing. They're amazing. So credit to Forest, credit to Nuno. Again, their storybook season continues. As I said, I would love to see Forest in the Champions League and hear that Champions League anthem being played at City Ground. So credit to that. Moving on, Brentford 0, Tottenham 2. Shout out to Tottenham. You know, obviously, over the past few weeks, we have come and we have criticized them over like, what are you playing? This, that, Tottenham, you all are terrible. This, you know, I've said all we needed to say about Tottenham. Well, as we do on this show, when you play proper football, we'll give you your flowers. And we just have to give, as much as I don't know, obviously, my bias towards, you know, the other side of North London. We have to give credit to where credit is due. Tottenham to Brentford 0. Coming out and playing good football. They controlled the game. Yes, Brentford had a few chances, but Tottenham did what they needed to do, getting back in the win column. This was really big for Ange. Because I think if they had lost this game and then they go on to lose to Liverpool, which I believe they will do, yes, they will lose to Liverpool, but I rather want, obviously, EFL Cup. Just let's get sidetracked a bit. I would do want, if as an Arsenal fan, Arsenal haven't gotten past Newcastle. But when they do get past Newcastle, I'd rather play Spurs in the final than Liverpool. Just saying. But I don't think that's going to happen because we all know. I mean, anything can happen. Is Liverpool sports can shock you. They're in the business of doing that. But coming back to the game, I think for Tottenham, this was a big result, especially big Ange, as I said. If they had done gone on to lose to Liverpool, I think he would have been gone. But big result for them. Big result. I think this was essential for them. So credit to that. Credit to Spurs and beating Brentford, one of the many handful of teams that have gone to GTEC Stadium and beating Brentford. So credit to Tottenham. Moving on. Manchester United nil Crystal Palace 2. 1 step forward, 2 steps backward. I will tell you this. I don't know what Ruben Amorim was doing. Whatever his name is. I'm done with it. I'm done with that. I don't know what he was doing. Starting Kobe Menu as striker and keeping Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee on the bench. To a degree, I will say this. Watching the game, that almost paid off. Having Kobe Menu as the 9 or a false 9, whatever you want to call it, I think almost paid off. I think if there were a few chances that if he had scored, this would have been a different conversation. But well, ifs, maybes, buts, doesn't win you football games. The goals win you football games, and that was what Crystal Palace got. 2 goals by the big man, Jean-Philippe Mateta. Awful defending from Manchester United on both goals. Well, I don't know if I'll characterize it to awful defending from Manchester or just really good striker play by Jean-Philippe. I think I'll go towards good striker play by Jean-Philippe Mateta. Both times he was aware. Credit to Munoz on the second goal. What a ball that was played to him and finding Mateta. That's what you call good striker play. You know, Manchester United, again, last week we praised them. They were like on a roll. And then this week they come and they lose their 7th straight game at home. So it starts where 7 in 13 games. This is Manchester United's worst home record. In 13 home games, they have lost 7. That's mental. That's mental. I also saw another stat. I know we have moved on from Manchester City, but I also saw another stat that Manchester City have conceded more goals than Manchester United. That is crazy. I look at where Manchester United are on the table. But yeah, I just wanted to chuck that in there. But yeah, Manchester United, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's kind of what it feels like. I think that's kind of what it will be like until Amorim is able to get his players that he wants to fit the system. I think until he does that, it will continue to be 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Manchester United. And that's just what it is. But credit to Crystal Palace. Again, I obviously I picked them for my overachievers of the season. And I think when we look back come the end of the season, I don't think we'll give them the overachievers of the season. I think that will either go to Forest or Bournemouth. But I think they are doing really well. They have picked it up and they have found some rhythm to them. So credit to Crystal Palace. Yeah, moving on. Everton 4, Leicester 0. If this was Sean Dykes, I would say this. Everton will score 4 goals in a month. But they are scoring 4 goals in 1 game. That is unheard of. Shout out to Beto. Shout out to David Moyes. Shout out to Abdullah Dakure. Shout out to Solomon Eloman Ndai. These are players. These are Everton winners of 3 straight. Well, obviously, we all know who they play next. Liverpool, they played Liverpool next in the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Shout out to Everton. Shout out to what David Moyes has gotten these boys. These boys are playing football now. I'm not saying Sean Dykes didn't give them or didn't give what they were not playing football under Sean Dykes. I think Sean Dykes was more of a stabilizer. He stabilized this team, especially during difficult moments. So we'll give credit where credit is due to Sean Dykes. But with that being said, David Moyes has come to take this team to another level. And maybe, just maybe, I don't know, come next week Wednesday, they might give us a shocker. Come next week Wednesday, they might give us a shocker. I'm just saying, but credit to Everton. Leicester, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Leicester. Rude, I'm really rooting for Rude. I love Rude so much, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the personnel. I don't want to say it's the coaching because I think Rude is an amazing coach. We all saw what he did at PSV over and even what he did at United. So I don't know if it's the coach. I think it's more the personnel. I think the personnel are just not it. I think the personnel are just not it. Anyways, moving on. Ipswich 1, Southampton near Southampton 2. First win for Southampton in what I would describe as years. This is a first win. And I think this game was more on Ipswich. Not, I don't necessarily, sometimes you, after a game, you'll be like, did the team lose it or did the other team just win it? And I think in this case, Ipswich lost it. I think this was Ipswich's game to grab. Win this game and they could have, obviously Wolves won, but they could have been, yeah, they could have just been above Wolves by a point, if my math is correct. But this was a game at home for the win, for the steal, and then they just lost it. Credit to Southampton, first win in what, over a decade? In over a decade. But credit to them. Good striker play by Onuachu for the goal. They should have won this game, Ipswich. I'm not going to read too deep into it. Moving on, Wolves to Aston Villa. Big win for Wolves. This result takes them 2 points above, obviously, Ipswich. And obviously, after this game, Matheus Cunha signed a long-term contract with the team. I'm so sad about that because I think he would have been absolutely brilliant at Arsenal. But it is what it is because now if Arsenal, before signing that contract, if Arsenal had gone to, it would have been way cheaper than if they go now because now we'll probably be talking about 80 mil. That's just mental. Anyways, but yeah, big result for Wolves in Midland Derby. This was actually a derby. Big result for Wolves. I think Wolves hadn't won this particular fixture in like what, stemming back to weeks, months, years, whatever you would say. So big ups to Wolves, big result for them. I think this was a big result for them. So credit to Wolves, credit to Cunha, obviously big time long contract for him. Villa, I'm not going to read too much into Villa. We'll talk about Villa more on the transfer side in a minute. So big ups to Wolves. Moving on to the last game, well, not the last game of the match, but the last game that has been played, because by the time this episode drops, the last game of the match would have been played. That is Chelsea play host to West Ham. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Newcastle 1, Fulham 2. Yes, Fulham coming back and winning this game. Newcastle, Arsenal, take notes. Fulham did it. You need to go and put 3 past Newcastle as centuries, but which I think you will do. But Newcastle just falling off the mark. I think this is one of those games where the front 3 and Newcastle had their chances. Isak had a few good looks, but I think it was one of those games where it wasn't just falling, and then they end up just Fulham just ended up coasting through the game and then going to that 88th minute and Muniz comes on and they just play one ball and he snaps on it. So yeah, credit to Fulham. Newcastle, I think this is deflating for them. Maybe not. I don't know. It depends on who you want to see. But yeah, big win for Fulham. Before we move on to some quick hitters, let's look at the Premier League table. Yes, this is the Premier League table, people. Starting with Liverpool, obviously sitting comfortably first. Winners of what, 19 straight. Oh, I'm tripping. Winners of unbeaten in their last, pretty much since they lost to Forest. I don't know how long that is. I know they lost before the game against PSV, which they lost to. They were, I think, 19 games unbeaten in all competitions. But Liverpool sits on top, 6 points ahead of Arsenal with a game in hand. That game being against Everton in the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. But then you have Arsenal, Forest, Manchester City making up the top four. Then Newcastle in fifth, Chelsea in sixth. Chelsea have the opportunity to go above both Newcastle and Manchester United for fourth position when they play West Ham, which I don't know. That's a tight game to call, but I think they will just edge Graham Potter and West Ham. Obviously, Graham Potter going back to the team that he was once the manager of. So I think Chelsea would just edge West Ham and then go fourth. And then you have Bournemouth. Bournemouth on enchanted territory for them. And then Aston Villa 8th, Fulham 9th, Brighton 10th. And then we have our favorite Manchester United 13th, as kind of where they have been all season, to be honest. And it doesn't even get easier for them. They play they play Spurs next. And then you have Spurs, speaking of Spurs, just 2 points below them. Wow, that's crazy. If West Ham do win, West Ham have the opportunity to go all the way past Manchester United and Tottenham. That's crazy. Anyways, Ipswich, yes, just saddening. This was their time to just go above Wolves. It is what it is. It is what it is. Anyways, it is what it is. So, but yeah, that's the Premier League table so far, heading into a kind of short break before the next match week. So that's your Premier League table. Moving to some quick hitters before we get out of here. First one, Marcus Rashford to Aston Villa. I think I wanted to spend a few minutes on this because I think it was essential that Marcus Rashford left Manchester United for, if not permanently, at least for at least 6 months. I think it was essential. I think he needed to play football. And I'm happy that at least it's to a team that I don't know if the team is a good fit. No, that's not the right words. That's not what I'm looking to say. I want to say I don't know if this is the right move for him, per se. This is not one of those moves that you're like, yes, instantly they'll fit. I don't think this is one of those where they have to play. He has to play for an extended period and he has to produce for me to say this was a good fit for him. And I think for Villa, they're not losing anything, paying 2/3 of his wages. That's not big. That's what, £300 a week. £300,000 a week. Maybe too high. But if he performs, they have an obligation to buy. They can keep him full time. Or if he doesn't work out, they send his ass back to Manchester United and he goes to go and fix what he has with Amorim. I do personally think that relationship is done. I don't think he can come back from that. I think that's done. But I'm not going to say never. I'm not saying never say never type of thing. But I think for now, the relationship is done. Maybe if he does come back alone and, he gets a change of attitude, change of, heart, I think maybe he can find his way back into the team. But as for now, I think this was a big important move for him. I don't want to say I wish he had come to Arsenal. I don't want to say that. But maybe. Arsenal haven't really done anything in the market, but when you're beating Man City 5, do you really need to do anything in the market? That's the story for another day, the conversation for another day. But yeah, big move for Marcus Rashford. And yeah, I think it was important. Another quick hitter before we get out of here. Champions League group phase recap. Yes, the Champions League group phase, the new expanded format is done and dusted. Yes, I think yes, let me just do this quickly. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about the standings in a minute. But in the new expanded format, Manchester City was the make it. Manchester City was the make it. You have Real Madrid and Bayern. And yeah, we know that in this new format, some teams might not, some of the big teams might not. You don't expect the big teams in Europe, all of them to all make the 8 teams that made the knockout phase. You don't expect that to happen. You expect that some of them will, slip down to where they have to play two leg playoff to be able to make the round of 16. And but teams that are in there, we didn't really expect AC Milan, Bayern, Madrid, Man City. Man City having to wait till the final day to beat Club Brugge just to make the round of 16. Now, before I get to the table, on the entire expanded new format system of Champions League, I think it was really exciting. I think the first year, this being its first, I think it was really exciting. I think it was a good watch. Obviously, other than that final day where we had to watch, like, what was it, 16 games all going at the same time, simultaneously, or 18 games all going at the same time. I think it was a good system. I think there was a lot of excitement. And obviously, we all know the goal is for the UEFA to make more money, the teams to make more money. It is what it is. But I think overall, this was a really, really good system. It worked out well. I think I'll say it worked out. Yes. So now let's look at the table before we leave. Here, this is the Champions League table, the final table, where you're straight to the round of 16 teams. Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal. Arsenal finished in third. Yes, we love that. Then Inter, Atleti, Leverkusen, and Aston Villa make up the 8 that move straight to the round of 16. Then going into the teams that have to play, in the knockouts, in the playoff round to be able to determine the final phase, you have Dortmund, Real Madrid, Bayern, Milan, PSG. Then coming here, you have Juventus, and then Man City, Sporting, and obviously Club Brugge, but they ended up making it. And then you have your teams that have been eliminated from Europe entirely. They are not going back to you. There's no more going back to Europa. Yes, all these other teams. I think out of all these teams, I'm really disappointed in Leipzig. I think they were just really terrible. I think with the amount of talent they had, they were just really terrible in this Champions League phase. So yes, that makes up the group phase. Exciting, entertaining group phase. So yeah, credit to UEFA for this new system. I think in the near future it will be really exciting, and can't wait to see what the next phase, the knockout phase, has for us. To be really exciting. Some interesting matchups in the playoffs, some interesting matchups. As I said, Manchester City plays Madrid. That's obviously the headline fixture of the playoffs. So it will be fun to see. Yeah. So now to round up off here, as we round up, yes, as I said, there's one more game to round up Matchweek 24. That is Chelsea playing host to former manager and West Ham United, Graham Potter and West Ham United. As I said, I think Chelsea just edged West Ham out. I don't see, if West Ham does win, I think it'll be a shock. But yeah, that'll be fun to watch. That'll be so fun to watch. Thank you all so much for sticking. I have to get out of here. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. Thank you all so much for sticking. And don't forget, if you are new to the show, please hit that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so that you notified when we drop amazing content for you all. And returning subscribers, we appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And don't forget, both our new and existing subscribers, returning subscribers, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. We love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much. Don't forget, this is not the only place you can find us. This is Mind of Football Fans podcast on all podcast platforms. Please check us out. We appreciate you all. We love you all so much. We'll be back after Matchweek 25, which is in 2 weeks' time. Yes, there's a short break, the FA Cup. I'm not a big fan of it. Arsenal is not in the FA Cup, so I don't really care no more. But obviously, as a football fan, I will watch some games. But obviously, I'm not too invested in it because Arsenal is not in it. But yes, we'll be back after Matchweek 25, where the big game of the Matchweek, Spurs playing Manchester United. That'll be fun to see. 12th playing 13th. Or by that time, if West Ham to beat Chelsea, to be 13th playing 14th. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, to be 14th playing 15th. Yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I hope you all have an amazing week ahead. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I'm David. I'm out. Peace.
We are Rogue Media Sports.